That taking away Syndra from Lille.
All right, so oh, actually, I'm gonna ban LeBlanc. So it looks like Beans is like, no, Suncooks, you can't play LeBlanc again.
No,
But Rayla,
they took it away as
yeah,
well.
Standard ban, but a lot of mid lane focus bans, like you were saying, the last picks and bans that we had in game number 2. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Lee Sin ban. Sorry, coming out of BPI here.
Yeah, we've seen pretty standard bans so far, other than the Syndra, Irelia, Gnar, 2 top laners that really are highly contested. We've always seen those 2 banned away, and I think the few times we have seen Gnar banned, both the team that has almost guaranteed to win that game. Seems like such a huge presence in the top lane. Obviously, that's going to be chopped down a little bit in the next patch, but of course we are playing on 4.21 on this one on the tournament realm.
This is going to be a Zed ban.
Yep, Lissandra taken away. So snatching that away from Nasus. We all know that he favors that from his game against Hard Random, and so with that taken away from him, we'll see what the final ban from BPI is going to be. You're calling Zed, taking Zed away from Sen, because he was a very split push presence on that in his semi-final game, in fact, but with just 3 seconds to go, I'm not sure which route they're going to be taking. You called it. Jason Kaplan strikes again as they do take Zed
had to be
away from Sen.
It just had to be. It's been banned every time against Suncooks in this best of 3. No way that should get through. But the rest of the bans, I mean, a lot of mid lane bans, which means, like, what are you going to play now in middle?
Well, we know what they're going to be playing in jungle, as Taiki has secured Jarvan as their first pick.
So we'll see Taiki again. First game, it's pretty impactful in the Lee Sin. Second game, Pantheon did pretty well mid lane, but now he's going to have Jarvan. He's going to be able to be a little bit more aggressive, more like Lee Sin. It's come down to, can he gank any of these lanes? It depends what SK picks up for, CC. And if he'll be able to counter jungle Crimson at all.
Yeah, and it looks like some interesting picks on the BPI side. Kassadin and Janna picked up. So we have that confirmed support, but also we have Kassadin once again, probably going to be in the hands this time of Nasus. I mean, we saw it in Lille's hands.
They're picking it because they can put it in both places.
Yeah, it's flexible. And so picking that one up. And actually on the other side of things, something I have to mention, because this is something we have yet to see. In however long, I said 7 days of League of Legends, we have not seen that Jinx picked up. And that's something new, perhaps in the hands of Crazy Caps.
Yeah, I'm curious why he's going for Jinx now. I mean, this is the last game. This is third place. This is for 2,000. Like, you either win and you get 2,000 euros, or you lose and you get nothing. So if you're gonna, if you're hiding something, you need to show it right now. And Jinx, I don't know. It's gonna be. I mean, you don't have an escape mechanism, which is a major downside. If we see Pantheon picked up here for Crimson, that could be major troubles. But the Nami does offer a lot of protection and does offer a lot of damage paired up with Jinx. And funny enough, Annie was banned in the first game. We saw her played second. Yeah. No, sorry, she was picked in the first game, and she wasn't banned. But then they stopped playing her, and they went for more conventional supports with a Thresh, which we did see banned before, and the Janna. But gonna be an interesting lane to see bottom. I'm really I'm not confused by the Jinx, but I'm worried.
Yeah, I can understand your concern. Like, I see. You see the Jinx being paired with a Nami, of course, that strong disengage support, the strong sustain support. So they're kind of ready for what's going to be dished out by the Janna Corki bot lane. But of course, the other side of that coin is the Pantheon now, of course, in the hands of the jungler Crimson. And I mean, if you do it wrong, you're going to get locked down by that Pantheon stun. You don't have a way to escape, in contrast to Corki and his Valkyrie. And so we'll see how that bot lane plays out. We do, of course, have to see what they do in response to that. They have 2 confirmed bot lanes now, so that matchup is secure. And with this flexible Kassadin pick, it's going to be intriguing to see what SK are going to pick, because this is potentially picking your mid laner blind.
Yeah, and, well, it looks like they might try to pick a safe top laner. But to go back to the bottom lane real quick, since we're still waiting for some picks to come in, I feel like if Corki just jumps past the bubble, then how's Crazy Caps going to run away? Like, that's just free damage from Riddix. And if Crimson gets some nice drops, it can punish them. Oof. We've seen this before.
We have.
We saw Suncooks in game number 2 play that champion.
And so what they've done here is, by picking that, they're assuming they're going to be seeing that cast in mid. Because, I mean, we've seen that exact match before. We've seen Suncooks play Ezreal up against Kassadin, and it went in his favor.
So with the Ezreal Malk I picked, it's like you can put Kassadin top and we'll be fine. You can put Kassadin middle, we'll be fine. Yeah. As the game progresses on, though, it's going to be pretty tough, because their back line is really squishy.
Yeah, and
really squishy. For a man drop to come in on you, or for a Xerath to poke you down, for a Kassadin to jump in, SKP, I am worried for this lineup.
Yeah, because you're right. If there's a one good Rift Walk, one good man drop, your backline is 280 carries. I mean, that's terrifying from the SK side. Of course, you do have that slight mobility as an Ezreal. You do have the Arcane Shift. You can get away from fights. And actually, talking of that poke and talking of potential damage, instead of Xerath, they do opt for Jace. And we're going to be seeing Lille picking up Jace in that mid lane. I think we've seen him play that before. Yeah, we have actually. No, I tell a lie. We've seen a lot of mid laners picking up Jace, but actually Xerath, Orianna, LeBlanc, Syndra are kind of his 4. And so taking a step away, trying something new. And we'll see how that one pays up against Senkux on Ezreal.
Yeah, so this is come down to, can Lille hit the poke? I mean, luckily for Jace, like, he has auto attack range, so Cassidy doesn't have to worry about it. He can do really good poke. He can do some really good damage in your face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a great as an escape as an Ezreal will. So if Taiki comes in to gank mid lane, which I'm assuming he's going to be doing, he can really punish Lille, set him behind, not letting his tier stacked up as quickly, and Senkux can get going. But again, like double AD comps are very risky. They hardly ever work out just for the fact you need a lot of farm for your AD carry to be effective. And typically in a game, you know, midway to the late game, you're always going to be feeding the farm to your AD carry. Hopefully for Senkux's sake, which he'll farm decently well, and he'll be able to build, I'm assuming, the same route he did last time. I think he went Trinity Force into a tier and a Trinity Force.
He did.
I think that's what he went with.
So he could constantly barrage with his poke, and then we went straight into the Triforce build. So yeah.
So, I mean, it's like the whole blue build Ezreal, which I don't think he's fully going to go, allows him just poke constantly and not really worry about doing too much upfront damage. And hopefully Crazy Caps will be able to pick up the slack that he doesn't have or isn't able to bring to the table.
Yeah, and I mean, we highlighted the bot lane matchup again. We need to highlight once more just because that Jinx pick, such a new one from Crazy Caps. We've seen him on the likes of Corki, Severe, and Graves. There we go. Don't know where that was. And Tristana. Oh yeah, he did play that into the late game composition that they kind of built around, and not this time, taking something new. And I mean, you said it before. Could be their surprise. It could be the ace up their sleeve. As we go on into this
it better be. It's a difference between 2,000 euros and nothing. Yeah,
this is, of course, the third place decider of the League of Legends Turkey International Invitational. We're into game, though, so let's throw it into the Rift, and we'll see where this one gets us.
All right, so kicking off our final game here, we have SKP over on the blue side. We have BPI on the red side. And go to the lineup. So one more time here for the last showing of today. We have on the SKP side, Beansu on Maokai, Taiki on Jarvan, Senkux on Ezreal, Crazy Caps on Jinx, and Zaitan on Nami.
And over on the other side of things for BPI Phoenix, Nasus this time rocking Kassadin in the top lane, Crimson on his hit and miss Pantheon quite literally with those man drops. Lale in the mid lane on Jace, and Ritix and Masterwork in the bot lane on Corki and Janna. So we'll see where this one plays out and pans out, as we're going to be seeing. It looks to be, to me, perhaps we're going to be seeing something different. Zaitan is on his way towards the top side, as is Crazy Cats. We may be seeing a lane swap here.
We could see that actually happen, which might kind of show why they're going the Jinx route, feeling like, well, they know they really can't go up against a Corki and a Janna, so why not go up against a Kassadin and just kind of punish them for it. But we'll see if the lane swap works out.
I'm intrigued. No vision there to spot them out, so at the moment, the BPI side are under the impression that they are going to be going into a standard lane, just waiting for that Gromp to spawn. And I mean, this is potentially going to be a surprise for Nasus. If he does head up in towards that top lane, you can see they're preparing for the surprise, opting for her Q. Jinx, so she does have the rockets available as well. Nasus, he could be caught out here. SK playing it right. They just need to play the time right. It's all about the bubble as well from Nami. He could be in trouble already, revealing themselves. Actually didn't go for the bubble. Instead, the sustain. They're going to be pushing him straight on outer lane. Nasus getting a huge amount of damage taken away from him. As now SK have revealed their secret. And that means we're going to be seeing a little bit of a kind of duo in the jungle initially with Taiki and Beansy.
All right, so we'll see how that one works out. Already Nasus getting really punished here. This lane swap, I would assume, was going to be expected on the side of BPI, but if it wasn't, this can really be a huge detriment for him. But they're only 2.5 minutes in here. We're about being picked up here for Crimson in just a few seconds. And it's just going to leech some of that experience. So that does really make it so Crimson can't gank as quickly as he wants to. It does slow him down a little bit in terms of leveling, but does speed him up in terms of clearing the jungle speed. But it's going to come down to how that really works when he does return top lane up against this dual lane combo.
Yeah. Ritix and Masterwork just going to be taking as much CS as they can, taking their time with it, of course, trying to keep that lane as unpushed up as possible. Just taking their time with this one, picking up every CS cautiously. Obviously, Ritic so strong in the previous game on that Corki. He's been given it again. And so worth considering just potential damage output that he could exert. If he's given this free farm, of course, that's another thing to highlight, is just that, yes, of course, you have that Jinx picking up the free farm, but so is Ritic's on Corki, and he gave him gold last time, and look how that worked out.
Man, he's actually free farming. Well, no, actually not a little bit better because he's shoving the lane in. So it's allowing BPI to pick up a lot of free experience and a lot of free CS, but in the top lane, they're freezing the lane. So, you know, the CS might seem like it's in the lead for Ritic, but in reality, it's actually not here. But look at this. We have Crimson and Asus coming on for a gank, maybe on the middle, but they're spotted walking over a ward, and Taiki's already reading it perfectly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, they're coming bottom.
Oh, Nasus and Crimson, they want to make a move for this one. They want to try and perhaps dive onto BPI at level 3. Yeah, I mean, Maokai's not going to be tank. He's only got a Doran's ring to his name. Nasus has made his whereabouts known, and I think they're going to have to back away from this one. This is something they can't quite risk. Double buffs could, of course, gone over there. And actually, Crimson and his buddy Zaitan are here to join the party. They're going to be backing away from this one. That's just keeping vision on Dragon, trying to keep an eye on where the jungler and the top laner are going. They're kind of holding hands, both of them sticking around. And look, turn our attention to the CS for a second. You can see actually in the mid lane, a matchup we haven't particularly highlighted just yet. And oh dear, Crimson's making a move onto Nasus. And look at the damage they're exerting. Flash and Ignite ticking away. And you can see one last Q is all it's going to take. Great accuracy from Senkux to secure that one. And first blood is drawn.
All right, so off the bat here, a great start here now for SKP. And we're going to find out if they can be able to kind of build up this momentum here. But Senkux, you know, getting the first kill is going to be a good start. And we're going to be able to find out, you know, if he can kind of snowball the lane. The thing is, he did it with LeBlanc, but he was not as successful in terms of his roams or when it came to these team fights. But Ezra can provide an easier route for that to happen. And you can already see bottom lane, you know, 15-1 CS between the top laners, quote-unquote top laners. And that is a huge lead built up now for SKP. I mean, they're already winning the game so far. But if they keep this momentum going, if they keep that top lane frozen over and over again, then they are just going to hurt them and make it really, really difficult to come back for it. Because Cassidy, you need, you know, somewhat of a snowball to really get going. Yeah, he can be powerful, you know, mid to late game, but he needs to roam around to make that happen. And he's just being constantly frozen out here.
Yeah, that can be a real issue. Of course, the gold is going to start going heavily in favor of SK Prime. 1 kill and, of course, the CS advantage that Jason has already highlighted. 35-24 in that mid lane. Senkux really laying it down onto Lille. You said in Champs-League, just saying that it's going to be kind of determined exactly by whether or not Lille can lay down that poke early. And it looks like Senkux has been doing a good job in that lane. In the meantime, Nasus just doing his best. 1 CS to his name. He has got just nothing. And looks like Taiki and the SK Prime side are going to try and make a move for BPI, but Crimson shows his face and they perhaps change their mind a little bit. They are laying down damage. They're just looking for the flag. Taiki just trying to do as much damage as he possibly can to push Nasus further out of lane. And he's picked up 3 CS now to 25 of BPI, and this lane swap from SK Prime is working out for them.
It is, and you can see them just looking for that turret here, and they should be able to secure some good damage onto it, but Masterworks off to the side. They're actually expecting a dive here. They're waiting for the dive to happen. Then he's going to show his face and get the knock-up and just kind of get that disengage that they need to here. Senkos heading back to base, pick up the Phage and the Tears to go on that same kind of route here with the Trinity Force and the Tear. Now this pressure, it's still barreling down top.
It's just a 3v3 lane at this stage. And you can see elsewhere on the map, Lille is perhaps making a move towards that bot lane. He's hit level 6. And you can see the slightly overextended Beansu, perhaps getting a bit overconfident in this now 1v1 lane. She's taking a whole lot of damage from Ritic. Ritic is pretty low as well. The aggressive Valkyrie comes in, and there's nothing really there to support him. Flash comes away. The Ignite's ticking away, and Lille, beautiful execution. In the meantime, though, in that top lane, you can see Nasus falling a little low, a little shaky on that one. And Beansu has to pay the price for his overextension.
Yes, he does, and that's going to allow them to even things up just a little bit here. But I see the gold quite different. Dragon, well, it might have been done, but you know, force them back here with having Jarvan now back to join the party. But look at this, John supporting Cassin up against Nami and Jinx. Gonna be tough. Going to be really hard to still last hit with. I mean, it's 34-14 now between the top laners. This lead's ever growing. And you look at, you know, the mid lane is a lead for Senkux. You look at bottom lane, there's only a slight lead for Ritic.
Yeah, very slight, 62 to 60 CS. 2 CS separating the 2 AD carriers, and Ritic has just gone back to base. Crazy Cap's continuing to farm away, so that's going to perhaps put him a little bit more in the driving seat in terms of CS. Gold still separated. Now, of course, 1 kill apiece. The only thing separating these two teams is that CS that we were talking about. But it looks like Nasus is on his way to catching up. 16, 17 now. can keep picking it up, and Beansu after that kill from Leon's going to be a lot more cautious in this lane.
And you know, Nasus, the downside for him is that Rod of Ages is only like really effective before the 14-minute mark, I believe the number is. So if you don't have it, you know, before then, it becomes not really as cost efficient. So he needs to get that item done. He's already working towards the catalyst, as you can see. Senkuk's even taking pretty decent damage here in middle, but he does have that phase advantage. He still can put out quite a bit of hurt, and he has a lot of mana to spend right now. And you're seeing they'll respect this. You're seeing him play passive. You're seeing him, you know, realize, yeah, I can't really fight you here. I have to play careful, and is just sitting back. Yeah,
very slow and steady wins the race for Senkux, which is a different pace to how we normally see him, especially on that Ahri previously. And actually,
Dragon's been started
down some damage, and yeah, you're right. In the other side of things, just down below in the river, you can see Dragon has been brought to about half HP, and I don't know whether or not they want to risk it. Crimson doesn't have level 6, doesn't have the man drop to contest this one. They didn't even have vision, to be fair, and that's that 6% AD and AP boost coming in, and they're looking to try to make a move on this one. Crimson is about half health, and they're going to flash. Perhaps can try and connect the zap, and Crimson knows it, forced to flash away. Another cooldown burn for the BPI side. Trade off of flash, and Takey's going to be start stealing away as much as he can from Crimson in this kind of invade.
And most importantly, the blue buff wasn't stolen, but it was forced onto Janna. It was forced onto Masterwork, which denies it away from Leo, who needs to stack up that tier as quick as he possibly can. So honestly, a great little invade right there does push and force BPI's hand.
And I mean, the matchup that SK Prime were doing their best to avoid is now going to become all too real. Jade backed up by Takey. Doesn't have his ultimate though, backing away from that one. He's not interested until he has that Cataclysm, and instead we do see the Mafia Jinx just hanging out in that bot lane, trying to avoid any damage that can be put out by Rittix. Rittix, of course, ahead now in terms of gold, 80 to just 69 CS. But I feel like they got over the worst of it. The kind of levels 1 to 6 would have been the toughest part of this matchup. And now Crazy Caps and Zayton, they have a bit of breathing room in this bot lane.
And now we're going to actually see how this bottom lane develops here. I mean, BPI, you already see them zoning away a little bit, keeping SKP back, as even Zaytan's forced to ward up that bottom bush. But you know, they have sustain. We're on the other side of BPI, they don't. But with that blue buff on Masterwork, it just allows them to constantly shield up, constantly harass with those whirlwinds, and not allow SKP to get any sort of momentum back in that bottom lane. Yep,
it's all about momentum. It's all about movement speed. That's why you can see Masterwork so very quick, just with a Spell Thief's Edge and a Health Crystal. On the other side of things, though, Senkux is going to be given, I'm assuming he's going to be given that blue buff, giving him that ability to just spam abuse over towards Leo. Leo, on the way home, going to do some shopping. He's got about 500 gold to spend. I don't know what he's going to be doing with that. Perhaps just going for a bit of regen. As you know, he does. He has enough to complete the Mana Moon. And he's going to be coming back to lane with a bit more damage and a little bit of sustain as well. We were talking about the power of sustain. And in the meantime, look at that. Hello. We're seeing the Crimson wearing his weary head.
Well, he gets a bit more damage, but he does have the blue buff. And I really want to stress that point because a tier won't be stacking as quickly. Yeah, the Mana Moon helps work around that because you can auto-attack and get 1 mana every time you auto-attack kind of thing. But he's still going to fall behind in terms of poke, in terms of just damage, where Senkux can be able to harass him constantly in that middle lane. But either way, you know, getting to BPI, they're really keeping their focus, they're keeping their composure. And even with that 30 CS lead that Beansu has top lane, he's not really able to push Nasus out of lane.
He's not able to do it, no, and CS lead is going to stay intact. The bubble doesn't quite connect in that bot lane. Rittix taking a whole lot of damage from that zap, and they're caught out. Valkyrie, he does connect to the stun. Jinx Rocket's coming in. The shield is enough to keep Masterwork alive. Just about last tick of Ignite isn't going to happen. And oh my lord, I don't know whether SK Prime know just how low Masterwork is. And Crazy Caps, if you could do something pretty jazzy with this one, both his support's there for the sustain, and Rittix is sticking around. They have a ward, and I don't.
Yeah, but
really
Leo's here. But Leo and Crimson are both here to go for the gank, and they're trying to bait them in here. Meantime, top turret going to be pushed down here by the side of SKP, able to shove Nasus out of lane. And Crimson's still committing a lot of time. He's level 6, so he has his ultimate. He has that man drop. But the chance of him really being able to pick up a kill off this is going to be really rough. The teleport coming down. They're going for the fight.
They're going for the fight. It looks like, look at Masterwork's health. This is just a bait. The Janna willing to slay down her life for that of Crazy Caps. And it's a 1-for-1 exchange and a very well executed gank there. They're going to be able to take the turret off the back of that. Dragon, of course, going to be coming up relatively soon, around that 2, maybe 3-minute mark. And BPI Phoenix back away from that one with a smile on their face. But of course, gold lead
was
still
a lot
in favor of SK Prime. It was a big commitment.
Teleport and ultimate to pick up that, and you know, SKP able to take the top turret before that happened, and even some good damage onto the tier 2 turret, down about half HP, below half HP actually. I don't know if that trade was actually worth it. Maybe if Dragon was up and they could have transitioned right into that, then definitely would have been worth it, but Either way, right now, BPI just trying to get some sort of thing going. And on Beansu, going to get caught out. Going to be a free kill here now for BPI.
Why is he committing his flash? Actually forces Nasus' flash as well. They want to give that kill over to Caston, and they do succeed in doing so. So that's going to negate or give him about 16 CS equivalent, give him that bit more gold and get the ball rolling with Kassadin in that top lane. In the meantime, though, in that mid lane, you can see Senkux, who's been pretty quiet so far, picked up the 1 kill we saw in the very early game, and he's just going to work on his Triforce quite silently, letting Lille do the roaming, do the ganking, and I mean, when are we going to start seeing him become the Ezreal mid we saw last time? Is it going to be when the Triforce is complete?
Yeah, probably the Manamion's done as well, but he's actually getting caught out here. He doesn't have his E to get away. He's going to get smited, get slowed up, going to get Foster's bombed, and he should fall. Riddick's picking up an easy kill. Now 4-2. BPI starting to build up a strong lead here off the back of mistakes by SKP.
Yeah, and this is not where you can fumble. We're into the third place decider, and it doesn't feel like SK are taking it seriously. I mean, well, of course they are. I take that back, but it just feels like they are making a whole lot of mistakes for what's at stake here.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it's just the team not used to these high-pressure situations. Again, they had a 2-0 victory over Dark Passage, one of the top teams, if not the top team in Turkey. And yet they just struggled from that point on. And you know, you and Demon were talking about it, saying yesterday you expect SKP to pick up a pretty convincing 2-0 victory yesterday against Aces High, and yet they floundered. And it makes you think, you know, maybe SKP, they just have a lot of work to do with their new roster that they've, you know, put together over the past couple of weeks here. And yeah, the Challenger Series starting up. You've got the expansion, not the expansion tournament, but the LCS qualifiers coming up after the spring split. There's a lot coming up in this next year for them, and if they want to have a chance, they really need to fix these problems, round out the edges, the rough edges of their team. They're a strong team. They have really good individual skilled players, but they just need to fix, you know, a couple of things.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, I saw Senkux tweet out after his loss yesterday saying, okay, time to focus on Coke League. So they want to really put a whole lot of focus on towards that challenger scene and improving as a team, of course. But this is it. This is a chance to prove themselves. This is a chance to kind of add a first notch to the
proverbial belt.
I was about to say proverbial belt. Yeah, none of them are wearing belts. I was looking at Ezreal. Perhaps he's got a belt on.
He does.
He does. There you go.
It's for style, though. It's not actually to hold the pants up.
Yeah, oh, yes. Because Ezreal's super stylish. That's why. As they are going to be making a move towards Dragon. 4-2, of course, in terms of kills. So that slight gold lead actually still in favor of SK Prime. And looks like BPI Phoenix are opting to take this one so very quickly. They do secure the first Dragon of the game for them. And they're going to be happily walking away from that one with pretty much no combat forced. I feel like perhaps we could have seen SK Prime do something, but without Senkuk's kind of backbone at the moment of their damage, especially he was just busy picking up his Triforce. Yeah,
I mean, there was no point to contest it. They didn't really have the ability to poke over the wall.
Yeah.
That Senkuk's there. I mean, yeah, they'll give it away. It's not that big of a loss here so far. It's only their first one. The 6% really doesn't matter much until, you know, a lot of major items being built up. But either way, BPI trying to go for it. Looks like a little bit of a cheeky catch in the jungle, but when there's chompers down, you can tell Crazy Cap somewhat has an idea of this. Yeah. And here comes the man drop bottom. They're looking for the kill yet again.
Crazy Caps is so very in trouble. You can see the wave was there to try and peel away. Flashes under the turret to try and take someone with him, and he does snatch Crimson's life away from him. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. And BPI, they do like to commit a whole lot to these ganks on bottom. They obviously really want to stop that Jinx from getting too big. 5-10, great job just clearing out the wave with the bubble. He doesn't want to see that turret fall any lower. But you can see Takey back up, and Cavalry is on its way. BPI sticking around.
Not sure if they can really still keep that turret alive, though. With Takey there, because not really going to offer too much. You might be able to wave clear, but BPI, they have everything up summoner-wise bottom, and even ultimates. Either way, BPI just going to back away. Again, play it safe. They have a 3-0-1 Riddix, who again, last game on Corki was just devastating. And he's starting to do it yet again. 150 CS, so he's built up a nice little bit of a lead. But one thing we should point out, look at Beansu in that top lane. 141 to 98. Suncook's getting caught out in middle. Actually should drop from this one with a nice rotate coming in from BPI. But their Maokai is getting really fed, really strong. But if he's not hearing these fights that are breaking out all around the map, like these little skirmishes, then it doesn't really amount to anything. You could have, you know, 20,000 gold accumulated in this game, but if you're not there for the fight, then what does that really do?
Yeah, absolutely right. What does it do? And look at this move from BPI. There's really very little. Look at that. Oh my lord. Ritik's going super aggressive, and rightfully so. They've got the backup. Takey going low, just locking them in with that Cataclysm, letting Crazy Cap just rain in damage from the backline, and he managed to get away with 2 kills, actually. Lille Going low, but not low enough. Crazy Caps does perhaps have his ultimate available. In fact, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. No, he does. He's firing it towards them. Ezreal and Jinx ultimates going through. Crimson and Leal just let those ones fly between them. Something we didn't highlight before in Champs League. There's 2 global ultimates. You're recalling on low health is going to be a bit of a risk.
Yeah, that's a good point. We actually didn't mention that. But unfortunately for them, they haven't really been able to make it do much so far in this game. We saw, Suncox use it mostly for farming, mostly for cutting out waves, masterwork. Nice flash over the walls as he escapes that one. And now if the global ultimates were up, like that would be 2 kills. But either way, again, it's double AD comp. Mid lane is ahead in CS, bot lane isn't. But the longer this game goes on, like it's a weird point where they're slowly working their way through. Like right now, they're going to be pretty weak. But if we hit that 50-60 minute point when both AD carries have full items, then they're just going to dominate BPI's side.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I was highlighting before the power, of course, of Crazy Caps when he gets to that late game. Jinx, not too akin to far away, sorry, from the Tristana, which we've seen Crazy Caps, I mean, we've seen Ritix on. And that late game AD carry can really make a difference. You're right, SK Prime. At the moment, it may not look too bright, but if they can continue to stall this game out, they, of course, actually really level in terms of gold. And that's cut in terms of turrets and CS, of course, being so a big contributor to that. Just sitting quite quietly, taking that CS when he can get it, and 30 CS ahead of Nasus in the cast in the top lane. That's not something we so often see. Usually you'll see a casting get a couple of roaming kills and then be able to force the Maokai out of lane. In this case, Nasus not doing that so well.
And we still got that top turret to really back up to. The problem is, well, as we're seeing right now, BPI going to be going for a big push towards it, and now he's trapped. He's locked in between a Rock and a Kassadin. And it looks like he's going to go straight for the fight. He's actually going to just kind of go for the engage here. Nice is coming from the side. He's going to Cataclysm him, but he flashed right of it. Crimson might fall for this one. Flash over the wall. He will drop Suncooks on the backside. Looking for some damage. Gets the ultimate across 4 people. And the Super Mega Death Rocket comes in as well and connects. And that's the Global Ultimates doing work. And that is 4 kills. Looking for the 5th. I don't think they're able to catch up on a Nasus here. Oh, actually getting him very low there. But they pick up 4 kills for 1 death. A great turnaround. A great fight. And Suncook's finally showing the power of Ezra right there. Just getting some free damage off to the side, being unhindered.
Yeah, and you can see SK
Where are these pings coming down from?
They're going on a marathon. SK Prime making a move all the way from the Baron Pit to that
no, I mean, sorry, BPI is just pinging constantly this top left side of the map.
I think they're pinging out like where things went wrong, perhaps. Dragon, of course, up in a minute. This is going to go pretty well for SK Prime. If they stick around, threat of Crimson with that Mandrel, which is about to come off cooldown, of course, they're forced to back away from this one. But that could open up the possibility of Dragon. SK Prime, they're going to have to get a wiggle on and get back towards that Dragon Pit after these recalls.
Let's see if there's any items they can pick up off of that. Let's see, Infinity done over for Ridix now. Carol's Crucible done for Zytan, so some extra heal. And the Manamune done for Zencook's middle. So they're building up a lot of damage now. There's a couple of key items coming in with the Sakshay being finished off. This should give them a nice little bit of a power spike coming into this. And they also have the gold lead for the first time of this game. Sorry, not the first time, but after the first blood that we saw. And now to hit that 21.5 minute mark here. Everything becomes more critical. Again, third place, 2,000 euros. Fourth place, nothing. And it's our final game here, this +3, with the grand finals to come up after. They didn't take the Scuttle Crab, which it looks like BPI was able to secure, so they get that extra speed movement. But this is a choice SK can make. Do we just shove middle and let them take Dragon, or do we contest it? And Taiki might be the one trying to slightly contest it, but the rest of the team just shoving middle. They're going to pick up a free turret here. Maybe actually get some good damage onto an inhibitor turret.
Yeah, that's their plan. And you can see Taiki deciding to back away from potential steal instead. He's just going to take the turret for Dragon trade, and that's going to give them a whole lot more global gold. Of course, Dragon not providing that anymore. So SK Prime extending that gold lead and extending that objective control. Of course, 5 now to 3 for turrets lost.
But now SKP are out of position.
SKP are out of position. I mean,
they're trying to come in from behind. The thing is, they're denying a minion wave from actually approaching the turret, so that makes so they can't really kill the inhibitor turret, but they can just face tank it, I believe. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Crimson's at the stage where he can take a few. In fact, you can see Leal is the one to tank it up. And look at the damage. When you have Ritix on 5-1, Infinity Edge and Triforce now complete, he's going to be able to take that inhib and that turret down.
No, this is a really bad mistake, I think, out of SKP. They're split up.
Bad. Trying to make a move, but the wave comes in, just knocking these beams away. In the meantime, though, Crimson does get eliminated. Masterwork's going to be meeting a similar fate. Look how low Ritix is. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Jinx Rocket thrown at him just yet.
Already was, and that's what got him so low. And unfortunately, Senkox didn't have his ultimate up to really combo with, but with that push back, they're actually going for Baron. And look at this. Look at Nasus. He realizes they're probably going for Baron now, and he's going to go for the backdoor on the inhib.
Yeah, and it's just
so is Riddick's. Oh no, Riddick's going for the bottom turret, but this is going to be a bad trade for SKP.
SKP, they think they're in the driving seat, and all of a sudden, BPI are going to make them pay. You can see Nasus is about to take that one. You can see it's taking them a long time to pick up that Baron, but they could potentially push more off this one. Looks like they're not going to. They're just going to leave that wave there and see Beansu and Senkook's going to be heading on back to base with a TP and recall respectively. And look how low Dagi's going. This is a real mission for them.
All right, so they get Baron, so they can shove down mid lane. They can, go head-to-head against the super minions with the WD carries and with the hand up Baron buff. But just small mistakes. I'm thinking back to that one game with G2, where they had perks, and he split push against, I think that was HWA, and he split push bottom lane while HWA was just like, all right, well, we'll just completely take over your base and win the game, and you can't make mistakes like that. I mean, obviously, if you're going to make a decision, you have to commit to it, but that might have caused a downward spiral. They already had the lead. They still have the lead. And as long as they get the inhibitor back up, things can get back in their favor, but we'll see.
Yeah, time will tell as we go on in through this game. Reading that 24th minute mark in the third place decider of the League of Legends Turkey International Invitational. If you've just joined us, BPI Phoenix and SK Prime are the two teams clashing to secure their third place slice. 2,000 of the 10,000 prize pool. And SK Prime looking to be, admittedly they're in a slight lead. 6 turrets though, an inhib down that forced to basically sit in this mid lane to stop the enemy minions getting through, the super minions. It's kind of super minions versus Baron minions at this stage, and BPI, the damage that Nasus can take. Now, Crazy Caps has got to that level.
I think the Baron minions are stronger. Just the fact that you have to have someone there so they're attacking the super minions kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially the wave clear too. But either way, they do lose their waves extremely quickly. You see them trying to harass down that turret, getting a little bit of damage onto it, but they also don't want to get engaged on. Crimson can easily go for a man drop towards the backside. You see this poke constantly coming in from Leo, getting them ever so low. And Riddick's even wanting a little bit of this. Oh, so you can see towards that top side. Trying to push them back, actually overextending past his team. But, in items, Mirror Mana is going to start to come out. Last Whisper done for Leo. Infinity Edge Triforce Inventory 4 is done with now Stork Boots for Riddick's. But on the other side, the 80 carries. Well, Manamine is now completed for Senkook's, and that could be a big power spike that they need in this next fight.
Could be a big deal. Riddick's taken low, wants to get them. Just one rocket is all it takes from Crazy Caps as the Ezreal is fired across the map. Very little to show for it though. Now BPI, they're trying to make a move down this mid lane instead. Going to be getting that blue buff over to Nasus, and they're backing away from this one. They're not interested in fighting. They're going to let the super minions talk for them. And 2 minute timer does 2 minutes timer, sorry, does pop up for that dragon. You can tell I'm hungry. So they do pick up anything they can, just trying to increase that gold lead ever so slightly. Riddick's doing the same thing on the other side of the map.
And now 10-9, 26 minutes in. A little bit of a slower paced game. Both teams, again, realizing what's at stake here. Talking about the game plan. We see the Magi's picked up for Masterwork. Trying to build that AP, trying to build those strong shields and that healing off of his ultimate. In terms of CS, still 30 lead here currently for Senkook's. But, honestly, we could probably just forget about the CS differences and just focus on the fighting potential of both teams. And
I think you're right.
It comes down to, can BPI get the poke that they want? Like, they have an inverted poke comp, I have to say, as Beansu. Oh, trying to catch out Leo here. We'll get knocked up. They have Corki. They have Jace. So they're looking to be the aggressor. They're looking to be the ones that are going to poke the enemy team down so they can go for the dive into the squishy backside of SKP. But with Dragon about 50 seconds away, I'm assuming SKP are preparing for it, trying to get their second one of the game and try to prevent BPI from getting the third. And that third one, mixed in with Casson's mobility, mixed in with the Valkyrie out of Corki, not to mention the acceleration gate out of Jace, really amounts to a lot.
Yeah, I think you're right, it does. And, also, you mentioned the poke, it does mean that SK Prime, they can't really afford to siege for too long, and their competition does, of course, favor sieging with the Jinx and Ezreal, but...
Oh my god, that's just one Q!
Oh my god, look at Crimson's Elf forced to flash away. The wave comes in, they want to make a move. Senkook's Elf does eliminate Crimson from the fight, and Smite, they're trying to make a move on towards Lael here. Double kill already picked up as Masterwork gets swept under the rug once more. Looking for Lael as well. SK Prime picking up 3. And they may not be finished just yet. You can see Nasus is being pursued. Senkook surely not be able to close that gap with the Rift Walk.
Where's the armor out of Crimson? That's what it was with that. I mean, I just mentioned the Mirror Mana coming in for Senkook, and that's a huge power spike. and he just decimated. Like, one Q took away, was it like a fifth of his life?
It was
then
huge.
just Arcane shift in, auto attack Q again, and he's practically dead from that one. Then not to mention the double ult combo out of the team. And now this will be an inhibitor turret falling, and most likely an inhibitor.
Yeah, SK Prime seems to be gathering their resources quite nicely. He wants to make a move. Ritix has just been caught out, and SK Prime pick up another. Crimson uses man drop, and all it's done is put him into the Lion's Den, and look at that, into the Lion's jaws as he gets another one. Crazy Caps just raining in damage. This was the AD carry. They wanted a lockout. They wanted to stop Crazy Caps from getting big. The heal is used, forced by Nasus' presence, and looks like he's going to be going down as well. Gets locked up once more by the Twisted Advance, and
they could finish.
They could finish right now. This is something we've seen before, this kind of all of a sudden finish. You see the flash from Lille. He wants to stay alive, but Ezreal says no. Senkuk's with a double. This is fantastic performance from everyone on SK Prime, and GG well played in chat. SK Prime, I don't know where it's come from, have secured the best of 3 and take 3rd place.
We've seen this so many times at the end. You just overextend, you get caught out one by one by one. The enemy team can just finish the game completely, and that was